viewers, welcome to Ask Question. Today we have as a special topic the role of the SCBC board. As far as Amazonians are concerned, SCBC is their product. Oh, is it not? I'm here today in the presence of the chairman of the SCBC board, Mr. Tube Francis Essene. He is the representative of SCBC for Italy, and he is also the chairman of the SCBC board. So, Mr. Chairman, you're welcome to our studio. This is the first time that you're in Manunga studio, isn't it?
It's my pleasure.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to waste your time here. It's nice that you've taken the time to talk to us. We are today in Italy, in Bologna, to attend the conference, the European Conference of Amazonians, including the country heads and many other goodies. And now our chairman is also around. You can imagine, I am the representative from Germany, he is from Italy, and we're meeting for the first time, physically. But as you can see, we're not just drinking our cappuccino here in Italy, but we're also doing some work. And at the moment, I just seized the opportunity to have him stand in front of the camera and talk to you, to our people. I know him, we've been working together, but let him talk to you as our chairman. Please listen to our SCBC board chairman. And before we start, I'm going to have prepared just a few questions, but which are very fundamental, and then we'll ask them to him. And the first question that comes in mind, is, Mr. Chairman, would you mind, please, to tell our viewers what SCBC is actually all about?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Manunga. It's a pleasure for me to be in this your program, and I would like to encourage you for the work you've been doing so far. Yes, I want to thank also our audience who are viewing us right now, that the SCBC is the people's TV. The SCBC is for the Amazonian people. The SCBC is a collective consciousness, it's a collective spirit for people who feel within themselves that they want a better life for themselves, for their families, and for their future. SCBC started as a small group, as a small idea, as a concept, you know, in the midst of all these difficulties, of all this strife which we've been facing in the past 2 years, and it has grown to become a television that people love and admire, and we are just there, you know, to help, to support it, to make sure that SCBC becomes actually the voice of Amazonia. SCBC started we just celebrated actually the 1 year of life of SCBC, and the board was constituted actually in August last year, and actually in December last year, SCBC also created the executive board, part of the board, you know, to run the daily activities of SCBC as concerns management and as concerns, you know, executive functions. We also have the Chief Executive Officer, who is the person of Derek Yu, whom I extend my greetings. So the board is constituted of members, and we are going to release, you know, the names of the members who constitute this board. We have more than 11 people in the board, and well, it's not been an easy journey. We started with weekly meetings from August, trying to know each other, trying to understand each other, trying to see what is, you know, suitable for the progress of information that we're giving to people. And I want to bet you that it's not been easy, because things crop in, many events happen, and sometimes the ideas are delayed, sometimes things are in a speed up, but we believe totally that we've been doing a great job. We've not been sleeping. We've been, you know, many times we have sleepless nights, having meetings about 5 hours, 6 hours, it's not easy. But because we feel that we are part of this struggle, we feel that we are part of making a new history, we feel that we should give what we have with love and with joy.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very, very much for this very brilliant introduction of SCBC. Now, I want to go to the very, very fundamental question that is burning on the lips of many of our viewers. They have the right to know the truth. And we've been saying it many times on this platform, but now that you are here, they would want to hear it also from your own mouth. Who owns SCBC? And especially, how does one become an SCBC board member? You got my question?
Great question.
So, Amazonians moving forward, they want your answers now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so good question there from our comrade. Well, SCBC, we've heard so many times from so many people that SCBC is owned by this person, was owned by this person, will be owned by this person. But it makes me, if I wasn't inside, I would maybe be influenced by such takes. But actually, the truth is simple. Sometimes the truth is not far-fetched. The truth is right in front of you. The truth is that we have SCBC members who were not appointed. Nobody appointed any SCBC board member. SCBC board members come from their various constituencies, from their various communities, and they were suggested in by their various country heads, but not only the country heads, but the executives of those countries. And these people were picked out from different countries, especially those countries which are supporting this struggle. And so the board is constituted with people coming from all around the world, from the USA, from Canada, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia also. So you can see the broad-based constitution of the SCBC board members. And actually, we are open to dialogue, as we said before. We are open to talking to people, to explaining things out to people. And we hope that our audience, which is, we trust in the maturity of our audience, and we trust in the consciousness, the growth which we are growing into every day, to know what is good news and to know what is bad news. So actually, I think the constitution of the SCBC board is one of those greatest things that Amazonia has been able to do, in recent times, because it is one of the boards that is still, together, and that is still trying to come up with better ideas, to develop better initiatives, and to create more synergies, between not only the board, but also with the management team, but including the government and the various affiliations. But most importantly, we believe that you, our audience, you, our viewers, are the first members of this board.
So, Mr. Chairman, once more, thank you very much. Another question which is very, very pertinent among the complaints that we hear from our viewers is that SCBC tends to be just reporting only on the issues that are directly coming from or are pro-IG. And I want you to tell the viewers what SCBC's editorial policies are in relation to the airtime schedules for all the different affiliations that form another part of our Amazonian revolution. This is a very, very important question, and I want this one to serve as a reference to everyone, pro or anti-IG. So you get the information now from the chairman.
Dr. Manunga, you are really bombarding me with questions here. That's why you are called Dr. Ask Question. Well, this one is a tough one because realistically, what can we say? There's what we call realism. There's also what we call intentions, and there's also what we call pragmatism. Now we're going to answer this question, we have to put all these things together. Actually, we should not forget that SCBC is a young baby, and things have, as I said before, things have been unfolding sometimes in a very rapid way, and things don't usually move the way we would all expect them to move. But these expectations are ripe, these expectations are real, and SCBC really intends to open up its doors to various affiliations, to various groups, to various movements, to various ideologies. Why not? We don't want to have our focus only on one way of thinking. And we believe that we have to work hand in hand with the IG, for example, because when they call on us, we always open up our doors. But we are willing also to open up our doors to any other group, to any other movement which wants, to have, a space on SCBC TV. We are very sincere when we want to tell you that SCBC has this independence to be able to harness, these various groups. It is our ambition, because competition is very important in life. Competition is very important in democracy, but the only thing that we are asking for is responsibility. We would want our users, our viewers, and especially those who call for interviews or for their programs and for their slots, who want a certain level of responsibility. In life, we shall come when we finally get to our final stop. There will be competition, but there will be government, there will be opposition, there will be different groups and so on. But each group should know that the progress of any society is not to kill itself. The progress of any society is to create synergies within people, and so we can grow together as one formidable group, as one formidable people. And I believe that we can do it. I trust, in the force, in the willingness of the various affiliations, to come together, and so we can do a perfect job.
So, okay, Mr. Chairman,
yes,
thank you very much.
Yeah,
but the answers that you gave were not really. There's something that I did not really get clearly, and I believe that if I, who is also a member of that SCBC board, can still have some sort of I know the answers, of course, but I want our listeners, our viewers, I want people to understand clearly that this is the policy of SCBC. And one very, very clear thing is to ask: can you ever imagine a situation in which the IG asks you to communicate, to pass over a certain message, certain type of message to the people, and you refuse, and SCBC says no? Is that possible?
Yes, another tough question again, but these are tough times, so we should be able to answer such tough questions. So, thank you once more, our loving audience. This struggle we are in is a collective struggle. This struggle we are in is a collective consciousness, and we want to be people who are reasonable. We want to be people who are educated. We want to be people who are not only conflictual. And so I would like us to change this mentality of conflictuality. I think people are reasonable enough to sit down on the table, to negotiate issues, and to dialogue, and to come out with plausible solutions that are rich, for everybody. So I believe that IG, I don't hope that we find ourselves in a situation wherein IG, we have to say no to IG. But why not? If it means saying no, if we have to be frank to ourselves, because we are not stooges, we are not cartoons, we are not to be toast anyhow. I think we all affirm our independence. And so if IG says something, or the AP says something which we don't really agree, but I think the AP himself is the first person to want us to say no. We don't need only yes men, and we don't want to be yes men. For those who know me better, I have never been a yes man, but I always like to dialogue with people. I always like to open up with people, and I think this is the spirit also of the SCBC board. So the board is in that position to be able to posit its own position, its own ideas to whatever group. This is not only for the IG, but this is also for the various affiliations, and even to you, our viewers, you individually. I mean, if you have individual queries, individual issues to raise, our email addresses are open to you, and so you can always, we are always ready to sit on a round table and talk with everyone. This growth should be, as I said before, collective. It's something we have to do it together, because together we stand. Thank you.
Okay, now let me get back to you, the chairman of the SCBC board, for us to continue this very, very important interview, because as he has said, let me recapitulate, he said that SCBC is the property of the Ambazonian people, SCBC is the mouthpiece of the Ambazonian people, and SCBC is a media house that is open to all Ambazonians. Of course, the IG, which is the people's government, has a prominent role to play in all this. Yet, every Ambazonian has a place, independent of his political or ethnical or whatever views. SCBC is the people's TV. There is an editorial board, there is an editorial policy that has to be respected. Anybody who respects it is welcome at SCBC. So let's usher in the chairman, and we ask him one very important question. And the question I'm going to ask him this time around, Mr. Chairman, just come in, please. Come and join me.
Thank
yes,
you.
yeah, welcome back.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So I was just talking. We had a visitor here, the guy from Germany, Mr. Ungaling.
Yeah.
And one thing that I want to ask you now is this: SCBC has had some very prominent achievements. There are so many. If you ask any Amazonian, what is your opinion about SCBC? I'm very sure they're going to say they are proud of SCBC. That's what we get as feedback. But I want you just to say in a few words, can you please just summarize to us what are the prominent achievements, or if there is one prominent achievement of the SCBC, just let our viewers remind them, tell us, let us see that this SCBC we're talking about is not a child's play. This is something very, very serious, and it is really a big thing.
Yes, thank you again, Dr. Ngasa, for that question. I lack words actually to say what is our achievements. It's not very good for somebody to post about their achievements. But I think just like the lizard that falls from the rooftop and falls down, it always hits itself and says, yes, I am a man. Okay, I've done it. But again, this is not a moment where we have to be saying we've done it. No, as I said, we're just a brainchild. We're a baby, and we're struggling to do it. We are fighting to do it, and we're fighting together with you. So I believe that this question is not my question to answer. It's the question of each and every Ambazonian. But if there is one thing that we can figure out, and that we can really ascertain and conclude, is that SCBC has been the force that has changed the mentality of the struggle, that has been driven this struggle towards education, towards information. It is the place where people want to listen, people want to hear and see what's going around Ambazonia and what's going around in Cameroon and what the struggle is all about. But it's SCBC, as what I really love about SCBC is that SCBC is not there for a war. SCBC is not there for a fight with one group against another group. SCBC is there to inform people of the things that are going on, especially people around the world, that human beings are being treated like second-class citizens, that human beings are being treated in the third millennium as slaves, that human beings are being considered as if they are not part of a nation which they are supposed to be a nation. So this inculcation of the realities of Africa, these inculcations of the realities of Southern Cameroons has been one of the greatest force of SCBC. When we say SCBC is the voice of Ambazonia, we really mean it. because SCBC carries the problems of the woman, the old grandmom who was shot, who was burnt in her own house, or of the child who was shot, who committed no crime. You know, it carries the stories of villages which are burnt totally. You know, it carries stories of people who are forced to migrate and as refugees into different countries. These are the realities of life. These are the things that humanity, the UN, the various African governments, the various European governments, and the governments all around the world are trying to stop. So we should not encourage, you know, a few to continue to control the many. The many should have a voice, and the many are the Amazonians and the people who love Amazonia and the people who love, you know, the Pan-African spirit, that we can be different in mentality, we can be different in ideologies, we can be different in the way of doing things, but we are one people. And SCBC is bringing in different groups, different TV platforms, different slots, different programs, like the Punchline, which is in Kenya, of Dr. Matsanga. You know, they're coming in to promote this spirit of Pan-Africanism, because our liberation is also the liberation of La République. That's what we should also understand. We are liberating people who want to liberate the minds of people. We are not there to preach hatred amongst people. We are not there to preach misunderstandings amongst people and accusations and slander amongst people. We want people to live with their dignity. We want people to live with respect, with tolerance of different views. And we are going to make sure that we continue in this step. We continue to enforce people to be free, because every human being is born free. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Now, I have another question, and this time it is your personal opinion I want to know. You have a vision, and you are really giving us the impression that you are with your soul and body in this SCBC issue. I want you to share with our viewers your vision about, or your vision of what SCBC could be, the role it could play in the future, or what you expect. What are your wishes? What are your visions for Amazonia?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Anyangwe. It's been a pleasure being here with you, because people always say you are a funny guy, you know, you crack jokes, and I can feel it, that you give a positive spirit to people. And so that's something great, you know, that's something great. Well, how can I start it? There are some people who know me personally, but maybe some others do not know me as such. But what do I stand for? What's my ambition in life, and what's my vision, you know, in life? But I don't really want to talk about me, but what can, you know, create, be a pathfinder, you know, and you know, creating opportunities for different people, because I believe in people. I believe in the collective mentality of people, the brotherliness, the sisterhood. You know, we need it. We need it a lot, especially in a world where people are becoming more individualistic, and people need to come back to have that communal spirit, that community spirit, that spirit of not always trying to read the negative aspect in the minds of others, but that of, you know, coming around and trying to enter into the shoes of each and every one of us, to understand another person, to walk a mile or two with that person, you know, and try to be one in you know, in unison with that person. So what do I really start? What are my vision? My vision for SCBC, and for me as an individual, is that vision that is that of, first of all, dialogue. I believe in dialogue. And when I talk of dialogue, I mean internal dialogue in the Amazonian movements. You know, we need it. We really need it. And dialogue means sitting down to understand somebody, not just giving people, you know, dictates on what they should take and what they should not take. Dialogue simply means that you're coming with a free mind and you sit with people and you talk things out. And I think this is the only way forward for the people, not only for Amazonian people, but I think in places of conflict and in places of war, there is need for such dialogue. But we also need what we call negotiation. And when I talk about negotiation, it's what I really believe in. I believe people can talk. We can talk to each other. I believe that there are rooms, there are openings that the Republic of Cameroon, can sit down with the people who have self-declared themselves to be Amazonians and which should be respected. That there are rooms that they should come and have some pallets, and sit down and talk things out. Now, whatever solutions, whatever decisions come out from these negotiations, it's something for history to tell. It's something which God will reveal, when at the appointed time. So, in this belief of dialogue, I believe each and every individual should start focusing attention and try to promote this need for negotiations between what we call the Republic of Cameroon and the Federal Republic of Amazonia. So, it's very paramount. It's very paramount that we take this spirit of negotiation very important. It's so important because this is where we have lost so many lives. Families have lost lives, friends have lost lives. People who know each other continue to fight against each other. We can't continue this way. We should put down, the Holy Book says that we should put down our arms and sit down and talk with each other. We have that spirit, that power within us to be able to sit down and talk. So I am begging those who are responsible, those who are at the higher levels, in the government of the Republic of Cameroon and the levels of the IG, to sit down and see rooms to create avenues for negotiation. It will help save many souls. It will help save, a relationship that has been built for the past 56, 57 years. Whatever solutions are taken after, that's for history to account. I also believe in this spirit of Pan-Africanism. I believe that we are all Africans and we are all one people. There is a saying which Ghanaians usually say, that we are all Ghanaians. And you can see in Ghana, a government comes in, another one takes over, but they are always happy. They are always one people because they believe that nobody is more Ghanaian than another. So I want to say in this struggle that nobody is more important than another. Nobody is more African than another. But if we have really to inculcate, to bring into ourselves, this African spirit, it's time that we start being Pan-African. It's time that we start learning to dialogue with one another. It's time that we start negotiating. Now, what is the result of all this? Peace. There is no greater word as peace, because peace is the fruit of love. Peace is the fruit of negotiation. Peace is the fruit, of dialogue. So if we really want peace with ourselves and our neighbors, this again is in the Holy Books, okay? If we really want this peace, we should start learning to sit down and talk things out. Africa and Africans should use their wealth, not for war, but for peace. Because this wealth, we need it for economic development. And with this, I stop. Thank you.
Dear listeners, dear viewers, this man has crashed into our program again. But he crashed with a very, very important message for the board, the SCBC board. And that message is formulated in the form of a question. Yeah. He says he has some questions. Look, my face is already getting a little bit sober because I know how difficult that question will be to answer. And I don't know how to stop him from not asking the question. But because we are Objective TV, we cannot hide such information from our viewers. And this guy looks like as if he's our friend. So I'll leave him alone to talk whatever he wants to talk. So, see you later.
Okay, I again am Galen Stanley Kwan. I am right now standing here trying to represent the lay people on the street, people who their voice have not been heard for a very long time, people who have a lot of questions that they don't have answers, and I will try. I'm trying as much to see if I can ask those questions they have in the street, so that those questions can have the right answers right here. So I just walked in now and I said, please, can I beg for 1 minute so that I can ask these questions? It's not, it's something which is coming to my brain just naturally. So my first question goes, is SCBC an organ which is formed for a particular reason or for a particular target? Or does it function as something which don't have a particular reason or a particular target, socially, politically, economical, every aspect, religional, cultural? Then my second question, those people from Amazonian land, those young talent, if they face SCBC, how secured are they in this moment when we face such a wonderful crisis? How secured are they to come up direct to SCBC and give out their talents? Because I know I'm from a country where a lot of talents is formed in the street. And I have a lot of friends, a lot of people I don't know, that they have a lot of talents, but the question is, how secured are they to promote their talents over the SCBC TV station? Thank you very much. If I have another one, I will tell you.
Yes, if he has another one, he will tell us. That's what he says. Yes, if he has another one, he will tell us. But I think that is enough for today. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngalim. So now, let's get our chairman to come and then answer these questions, because I am just the cameraman and just the guy who asks the questions. So, Mr. Chairman, now it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Ask Question. Thank you for this wonderful program. And this interview has been moving on smoothly. I also want to thank you that you can allow people to come and ask questions, directly, to the SCBC. I want to thank the comrade who just came in here, Doctor, are you following up?
I'm with you.
Okay.
Answer the question that Pangalim asked.
Okay, so
don't put it on my head.
If you can hear Pangalim, you can think it's an old man, but it's this young guy who just came in and asked questions just naturally, and he wanted me to answer them in this way. I really appreciate the questions. I think the first question was about that is SCBC, was it created for a political purpose? And the second one was that young talents, do they have the security, the security backup, for exposing themselves, especially
on SCBC. Yes.
On SCBC in this period of turmoil.
Yes.
Yeah, very important questions. I just want to say, Mr. Ngalim, you started by saying that you are a protocol guy, but I think you're more than protocol. So please, it's interesting actually. So let's go back to those questions. The first one, was SCBC created for a political purpose? My answer will be no. It's very wrong for a TV to open up for a political purpose. But a TV is broad-based. SCBC is our television, Southern Cameroon's broadcasting television. So it has a broad-based ambition. The first thing I think SCBC was created is for the dignity of the people of the Southern Cameroons, who now call themselves the Amazonians. I think that's the first thing. The second one is to promote the culture, the traditions of those people, the linguistic culture also of those people, the educational culture of those people, the legal cultures of those people. These things are more than politics. But what about the economic and development culture? These are the things, these are the issues that need to be propagated. That a people are a people, they are people who have a say, who have a voice, and this voice can only come in the things what they say, the Respublica, the things of the public, the things that people do. So these things should be brought to limelight. These things should be highlighted, and there is no other better platform as the SCBC to carry out this message to the world. But again, when we talk of politics, what is politics? Politics is not only fighting for power, fighting for positions. Politics is actually talking about the things of the people. Politics is talking about community participation. Okay? Politics is talking about what the youths, what the women, what the leaders of a people sit together, you know, to come up with. So this I want us to be broad-based. I want us to open up our minds that if we are planning to build a new nation, if we are planning to build a new future, a better future, we should also open up our minds to be able to diversify our intensity, you know, in the things we are doing. Yes, politics is also important, because without politics, people cannot vote. Without politics, people do not have human rights. Without politics, people cannot say what they think. Without politics, people cannot really shape, you know, and modify how their lives matter. And if their lives do matter, then it is important that we also address these issues. Because if we have to address these issues, we should address them, you know, as full flesh. So I really love that question that comes from Mr. Ngalem, that SCBC is political. And if it is political, it is also cultural. If it is cultural, it is also developmental. If it is developmental, it also talks about the promotion of youth activities. And this brings us to the second part of it, the second question which he asked, which is that of the security of our young talents who want really to come up, you know, to show how devoted and dedicated they are, you know, in this struggle. But not only a struggle, but to show themselves, to show out themselves, to showcase themselves as people who have brains, who can think, not as some people say, we are being manipulated. There is no manipulation here. We just want to show what we are. We want to be real. We want to be ourselves. And to be ourselves, we must show that God-given talent that God has given to each and every one of us. So what do I say? I think a youth should be bold. A youth should be bold. A youth should come out and say, this world, he was brought into this world, given the opportunities, okay, in their proportions as by God. And that we have the duty and the command, you know, to expose, to reveal, to make known these various talents and qualities that we have in us. I think this is the future. I think this is the way forward. I think this is the direction that we must all follow. I would love to see youths that come out clean and clear. You know, there is a United Nations policy and rule that youths should be protected. Youths cannot be just killed. You know, youths cannot be suppressed. And there's also a Geneva, you know, platform to protect talents. Talents must be protected. And if they are protected everywhere in the world. And why not in Africa? And why not in Cameroon? And why not in Amazonia? So that's what we are promoting here. We are fortunate that SCBC has created SCBC 2. SCBC 2 will be that platform which will garner and bring together, you know, all our talents. And it's not like we are just telling our viewers and our audience what they have to do. We are telling them that you tell us what we have to do. So we are bringing this platform as a new channel, different from SCBC, but incorporated into SCBC, a channel wherein people can be, young people can inform themselves, educate themselves. It's going to be educational, but it's going to be cultural also. It's going to be developmental. Now, I want to say that SCBC is not limited just to Amazonia. It's not limited only. We have more than 1,300,000 dishes all over the world. And it it is on this platform that we believe that the creation of SCBC2 will be an opportunity, not only for Amazonians to interact, but for the youths in the world, in Africa, to interact amongst themselves. This is the future. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we could continue asking as many questions as we deem necessary to our able chairman. But at one stage in life, you have to just say, cut. And that stage has come. Before we conclude this question and answer session on Ask Question, I would want to point out that Manunga Studio, as you can see, Manunga Studio and SCBC are working hands and gloves, as I say, in order to bring in new programs to entertain you, to fill your day with very constructive, productive, educative programs. And what we also want to tell you is that the youth, our children, they are a priority. And it means that harnessing the talents of Amazonians all over the world is going to be a priority of SCBC. SCBC and Manunga Studio are working on platforms, on programs which are going to give our children, our talented Amazonians, sorry please, not only children, but talented Amazonians, so the age doesn't matter. I am sorry that I said children, only children. No. Age doesn't matter. If you are an Amazonian and you believe that you are talented, you have something to share, to show with other Amazonians, this is your platform. Manunga Studio, SCBC, this is your platform. We're going to travel around the world. We're going to make sure that you contact us, tell us, oh, look, I can do this, I can do that. You saw the story about the guy from Mali who climbed on the wall and saved a child and became a French guy. We don't want that to happen to Amazonians, because Amazonians should know that right from day one, you have this opportunity in your own country to be able to become whatever you want, because the opportunities are there, should be there, your mind is free, and now you can express it as best, as much as you can. So, know it, SCBC is our studio. SCBC belongs to Amazonians, and SCBC will prioritize Amazonians. This is very important, because it means that those children who grow up in foreign countries and they are talented, but because of the fact that they are in a minority, the locals have an upper hand, because the local laws, you know, most television stations tend to favor their own locals, their own the people. Amazonians everywhere around the world should know that we have a platform that is meant for them too. They have their own platform where they are also the priority. They are the number one. So you should, if you live, for example, in Italy, and you are a talented Amazonian, and you've been trying to get on TV in Italy and it's not working, please, this is the moment, because you have to know that our chairman just told us that there are 1,300,000 satellite dishes all over the world, most of them in West Africa, that watch SCBC regularly. Please, let me tell you, think about it. How many people watch a TV in a household in Africa, averagely? In your own house, in your family's house, in Africa. How many people are there in the house? There are at least 10 people watching a TV every evening. When the TV is on, you have in every household, I would say averagely 5 to 10 people watch the TV. So if you have 1,300,000 satellite dishes all over Africa, you can imagine how many million people watch you regularly. So this is a platform where you, as a talent, somewhere around the world who has been neglected by the local media, this is the moment for you. Please get in touch with us. Tell us what you can do. Maybe you do some footage. Take a short film and you make a short video of whatever you can and send it to us. We will blend our email address where you can contact us and where you can send your email, your videos to, so that we can take a look. And as I said, we encourage talents. SCBC is the TV for Amazonians, whether it is SCBC 1 or SCBC 2, but Manunga Studio is your channel where you contact us and we will model you to get into SCBC. SCBC is cooperating with us, we are partners. And the chairman made it clearly, Amazonians, this is our, because I was part of it, our TV. So, thank you very much for being so patient. I hope that we've answered a lot of your questions, but if you still have any more, please don't hesitate. Send in your questions, we'll channel it to the chairman, we'll channel it to the SCBC board, and as usual, if there's anything you want to do, you just better ask questions.